Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Peter. In this video, I'm going to cover the charting software that I use today, mostly for technical analysis and scanning. I have literally used every piece of software out there, have done so much coding, and even have my own proprietary software that I've developed in Python. I've used Thinkorswim, TradingView, Bloomberg, etc. And yeah, I'm just going to go over the pros and cons of choosing those things over the software that I'm using right now on a day-to-day basis. And before I get into the weeds on that, please click the like button as well as subscribe if you've been liking the content. You can check out market reviews, all the forecasts that I've been doing recently as well if you go to my channel. And yeah, it would just mean a lot, and we can continue to make videos like this going forward if you were going to subscribe. So without further ado, let us get into it. So on a day-to-day basis, I always basically have the Bloomberg terminal loaded up, and you know, you can't really beat the data that this has. And I don't mean price data, I mean fundamental data. If I want to know what CPI was year over year, I'm just clicking, you know, I'm typing it in, finding it, doing the graph price function, and I know where it is basically on a day-to-day basis. I run the description function. I can find every little detail about what CPI index is, etc., etc. It's hard to beat the data standpoint for something like a Bloomberg terminal. And that's what people pay up for. And that's basically what it is. It's an institutional platform for people to do their analysis on. And even stuff like fundamentals. If I want to know, for example, Apple stock, and you know, I want to go and check out their financials, it's kind of difficult to find a place that has it all organized and trustworthy in a format like this. And for example, if I want to know their earnings history or understand what forecasts other people have, etc., it's just tough to find anything else that has something that's quite as impressive as this. But for technical analysis, I mean, you're talking something that's a little bit slower. You know, it looks nice, it looks all professional. However, scanning, forget about it. Really quick, fast charts, forget about it. And I'm going to show you what I basically use on a day-to-day basis for technical analysis. So this is it. I use TrendSpider, and I've probably used every other cloud-based charting software out there before. Nothing really can quite beat this software. It has all my favorite indicators, basically everything that I'm using. It's very fast, and it doesn't use kind of free data from, you know, some free data from some free exchange that might have weird after-hour prints or whatever. It's quite reliable, and I know that I can trust it. And the scanning functionality is just fantastic. For example, I have my proprietary scans that I have set up for finding market opportunities. This is like my go-to scan. It's called ATRTL, which is basically, you know, using some proprietary countdown methods that I look for oversold or overbought stocks. So this is an example of a stock, JLL, Jones Lang LaSalle Incorporated, coming into support. And I guess the risk reward here, before I even did any analysis on the stock, would basically be buy between 216 through 212 for a target up to the 248 area. You can see the anchored VWAPs are automated. Very tough to find software that can do this right inside of the platform. You can also check to see what trades were initiated on the derivative side. So I know, for example, somebody bought $50,000 worth of 280 puts on March 30th, or more recently on April 7th, somebody picked up $35,000 of in the money 260 puts on this thing. So somebody's betting for more downside kind of in the short to medium term. You can also see that the watch list have things like top mentioned Wall Street bet stocks. If you want to understand what stocks are kind of getting mentioned on a regular basis, this is the place to go to. And this is an example of a short setup actually I took on GameStop when I had that big rise right into my ATRTL level, which kind of came up on that scan as well. Shorted it near 180. It's back up to the 140 area. I was thinking that it might get to the 110 area, but definitely not married for it to come down kind of here in longevity in the medium term. And if, like, for example, if I want to look at other things like a stock that has analyst upgrades, I can create my own custom scans, like the money printer scan, my ATR trendline kind of scan, RSI scan. There's just so much stuff that you can create. Crypto stuff. You can even look at kind of indexes that have, for example, I want to know which transportation stocks are really moving, and obviously those are really in play right now because we had a big kind of issue on the transportation side. A lot of those stocks really came off recently. And ALK, for example, right into my kind of spot right here on the 50 area, anchored VWAP, ATR level right there. The risk reward would be up to the 66 area versus that low. We would need to see a base kind of hold to get this thing back above 53. And you can just see how fast it is. Like if it started to hold 53, kind of my baseline projection would be like something like this and trade back up to that side right there. So that's kind of what I'm looking at on that side. And yeah, I mean, other things like you can test out strategies, for example. And I have one of my favorite ones here. It should load up in a second. Kilo. I love my Kilo strategy. I hope it doesn't give it away, but it's okay if it does. We'll run this thing, and basically this will alert me when I have a trade set up, and alert me when I should get in on those as well. I can set up an alert for the Kilo strategy, for example, and it tells me right on the chart where the entries and exits are. And for example, I think on Apple, we recently had an entry as well for this strategy. We can even maximize this chart to see how well they kind of played out. Actually, we didn't get an entry yet on that one, but you can see the entries and exits on the strategy in the past where it stopped out as well. So yeah, I mean, you have back testing, you have options flows, you have watch lists, you have everything that's really quite fast. And yeah, I mean, this is my go-to, and I use it on a day-to-day basis. And we have futures, we have Forex, we got, I just got a Bitcoin long idea actually on this Kilo strategy that was just set up. So the strategy entered a long position here. It should pop up in a second, but that's kind of my level there. Yeah, entry long position, and it typically works quite well, and it's starting to work really well. We were all the way up at 440. It triggered on the close at 42, so it's already up about $2,000 per price there. And that's about it. I mean, this is, like I said, it's fast, it's quick, and it's kind of my go-to here in the short term. And I can't really say any other charting software is any better than this one. Now, I am partnered with TrendSpider, and if you wanted to get the TrendSpider software, you can actually for 25% off if you use the code Peter25 at checkout. There are links in the description below if you want to try it out. I think they have a free 30-day trial or something, which is really nice. Give it a go. I mean, if you don't like it, you don't like it. I think charting software is quite personal, and I just personally have used everything in the past, and I have access to some of the best resources in the world, and I really like this one. So give it a go. You literally have nothing to lose just by doing a trial. So yeah, hope the video was helpful, and if you have any questions about it, just drop a question in the comments and I'd be happy to give it a go. Cheers everybody, hope you have a good weekend.